man. Welcome to God's Fault. It's your boy, Nyjah, a.k.a. the Comeback King, man. We here for it. Hey, listen, I appreciate all the followers. I appreciate the subscribers, the support on all the podcast platforms. It's really crazy to see how things is growing. Hey, come join the community, join the family, subscribe to your boy, follow me on all the platforms. Links will be in the description on every video. Let's build a community of really change and influence for a more positive, place for our people and our culture, man. And let's step it up. We're going to stay fly with it. Let's not get it twisted. Ain't talking about no cornball stuff. I'm just talking about representing and getting the most out of life like God intended. So if you on that with me, if you support the mission, join the community, like, subscribe, comment, share it with your folks. We just trying to grow. We just know we ain't trying because trying is failing. But we going to do this thing, man. We out here to represent and to live an abundant life. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what we're going to do. So appreciate y'all, everybody for tuning in, everybody for the likes and shares and the comments on all the platforms. And we here for it. We out.
What the heat did. Listen to my ghetto gospel, told you all the best was there. See the second coming or the third testament. We were at the synagogue, puffing on the peppermint, looking at the sky for the promise heaven sent. Chose to be a king, but not the one the prophets pick. So we hustle for the prophets, not a prophets look sick. Just a few bad apples blind.
Yo, what's good, man? This episode of God's Fault podcast coming to you by Hustle to Reign. What's good, man? Yo, we here is your boy Nyjah, a.k.a. the Comeback King. That's Mr. Leslee Nyjah to you. Yeah, we own that. Yo, check this out. There's a lot going on in the world right now and in our community, and we're going to address a few things. You know what I'm saying? So this episode of the podcast, we're going to go into like what deaf culture is, right? So when it comes to this deaf culture, that's what I'm kind of calling it. It's impacting the Black community through hip hop. All right. So and we're just gonna unpack the whole thing. We're gonna get into the glorification of destructive behaviors like, murdering each other, crazy, wild sex, drugs, just spending money crazy, like no financial plan. You know what I mean? All the societal systematic changes and challenges that kind of just kill our self-discipline with our health, our family structure. All of this is supported by facts. You can look all this stuff up, what the impact of the Black community is having right now, in this nation, and why we not respect it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're on the brink of extinction for just our life choices and what we celebrate as the Black culture. All right, so this is not going to be a popular topic at all. But listen, I want to hear your comments. I want to see, what you guys really think about this, because it's kind of crazy that we celebrate the killers. You know what I mean? Murder, like homicide, is the leading cause of death for Black males ages 15 to 34 years old. You can look that up. CDC report 2022. African Americans alone are like really just the weight of it, of how many of us is really affected by substance abuse and related arrests despite usage rates in America. It's insane. It's insane. All right. And that's like the national, that comes from like what? The National Drug Institute or whatever of abuse. That was a report that was done in 2023. The information is out there. You know what I mean? You got to stop just Googling memes or whatever and really look into what's going on. But yeah, like the glorification of murder, sex, drugs, luxury living, and how social media influence and pushes all this, like our music, movies, the violent narratives and destructive behavior, how we worship this stuff as a people is kind of insane. You know what I mean? It's really crazy. I'm like 60% of the top hip hop songs, 60% glorified like violence and substance abuse. That's from Billboard. Like 2024, like it's like the normalization of these behaviors in the young generation. The role of like celebrity culture and like social media is like perpetuating all these ideals that you got to run up the bag and do all these things. This is the stuff that's really taking our youth into that other direction. This is why drill music has gotten so popular, because crime pays, right? Crime pays. Why not? If we all chasing the bag, with the illusion of like a lavish lifestyle, and you know what I'm saying? Like we coming up, like think about this. When I really feel like as a people, I feel like we're in love with the struggle. I feel like we're more in love with the struggle than we are in love with our people. You know, if we hear somebody talk about the struggle and what they did to come out of it, yeah, obviously that's commendable, right? But that has turned into death for our youth now, because it's not a celebration. It's a celebration of elevation. It's more of a celebration of you did that, as far as in, oh, you got bodies. Think about the mentality of that for our people. Like you gotta respect the shooter, right? But anybody can be a shooter. A coward will shoot you, bro. Like that's what most people don't see. A lot of people, this is the thing about the internet. It's social media. Social media got you living lives that are imaginary lives. These are not real lives that you're living. You're living a lifestyle through music that you're not living in real reality. And then the ones who, our youth, are now living this reality, and they dropping like flies, and they ending up in prison at a rate that's so alarming, man, to make your head spin. Like that's a real truth and fact of it. You know, like, so it's like a catch-22, because like this country, we're in love with entertainment. You know, we're in love with entertainment because we're caught up in this system of this grind, this hustle, just to survive. Now, you know, we're paying for things that should be God-given anyway. You know, but where you live, you got rent, you got bills to pay. You got to feed your family, right? So there was a time where criminals were honorable because they was doing what they was doing. It wasn't so much to get rich, it was to put food on the table. Now, that's not all of them, but a lot of people resorted to that when you're back against the wall. Like, it's a lot of these kids that's coming up right now, their backs, and I can't say all of them, but a lot of them, their backs are not against the wall. They have a parent in the household. You're not talking about kids in foster care. You're not talking about orphans. You're talking about kids that have a family around them. The sad thing is the family that they're into have no structure and no system to make them more successful than where their family currently is. You know, with my children, my goal with my children was I wanted to see them have a better chance than I had. Because all the stuff that I had already believed and sacrificed, you know, my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health, all these things for, if you're blessed enough to get through that stuff, then the reality sets in like, you know what, I can't keep this cycle going. The cycle has to stop somewhere. Too many people now are trying to relive their youthful days in their older age, and they're neglecting their children to do it. That's the insanity of it. That's why all of this is so convoluted and it's so hard to like kind of really put your finger on what the ultimate solution is. Because in reality, the ultimate solution for any of this is self-discipline. But we can justify lack of self-discipline because we're all playing like this victim mentality because of what happened to us through this systematic racism. So everything from this point on is always justifiable, no matter what. I got to get it by any means. And these are the mantras and things that we perpetuate because we justify it through the pain that we already suffered through the system. That's why it's a tangled web we weave. That's why destroying any kind of spiritualism that you have is the key, because if you get in contact with something deeper than yourself, now you become responsible than something higher than you, and nobody wants to do that. Because then you give up the things that comfort you. So, you know, like, it's so crazy. Like, Black families hold like 1/10 of the wealth than white families. Think about this. We hold 1/10 the wealth the white families do on average. Now, that's according to the Federal Reserve of 2023. So there's a cost for like prioritizing material goods over investing assets. Like even right now, like the whole landscape is changing with Web3. You might say Web3, and a lot of people are like, oh, what's that? What's Web3? That's a problem. That's a problem. The AI model and with all the the crypto and everything that's going on, there is a bag of this stuff. And what's crazy is it don't matter what your race is. All you have to do is acquire the knowledge and the information and start applying it. But, you know, you mix that in with like this microwave mentality that people have, this instant, right? You expect to get rich overnight like this. But you forget you're only watching the 1% of people on the planet. You're only watching the 1%. And you're thinking you can get that like they did, and then you waste so much time, you wasting time because you think it's going to happen in an instant, but nothing happens in an instant. What you don't see is the grind behind it. You know, that's why we hustle the rain around here. You know, we're not hustling just to come up with a quick bag. We tried that already. We've been down that road. We paid the cost for that. There's a cost to the choices that we make, and then we get mad when we start reaping the cost of it, and then we want to blame that on somebody else. But that blame only lies squarely on your back. So, you know, this is the reality that we really got to come to. Because like with social media, there's a pressure to perform like with wealth on social media. Instagram, TikTok, and all that. But if you use these platforms to actually generate an income, then you'd be so much off, but you're too busy watching the entertainment side of things. That's why, like, the scammers is going crazy right now. You know, and even the banks, like these companies with these payday loans, they target people who are suffering, who need quick money. Then you pay them back a high interest. There's a real emotional effect to poverty. And so that's why that's like the blessing and the curse of hip hop. The blessing and the curse of hip hop is that we have an art form of expression for us, right? We have an art form of expression for us, but this art form has been pimped out to the destruction of us. It's nothing wrong. Listen, I love dope lyricism, beats, all that. Like I love, you know, I'm not gonna play hypocrite and all. Nah, I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is hip hop has gotten to a point where these major companies see an unlimited resource of bodies because they can get young nigga after young nigga after young nigga after young nigga to sacrifice themselves for a bag that's going to make more and more following their footsteps, and they can keep pushing this music and this narrative, and they keep getting rich while their kids are sitting in the crib chilling and they at home. Everything is love. They going to college. You funding their colleges with your dead bodies. As a matter of fact, it's even so crazy. You actually, it's like true Stockholm syndrome. We done became the thing that we was afraid of. I know another group of people who used to wear masks and terrorize. You just traded your Pooh Shiesty mask. That just used to be a Klansman mask. And you doing the work for them. And we walking around in the hood with PTSD from each other. We literally have, like, if you grew up in the hood anywhere, you got PTSD, bro. Because you done had to put in work to survive amongst your own people, the people that you're supposed to be the safest against. Think about that. And we're dying over blocks we don't own. You're dying over zip codes and area codes that you don't own. You're dying over project tenements that you don't own, and you're claiming them. You got too many of our young men got close friends, all our people. We got people who's buried their bones now. Think about this. No life is left in them anymore. They're literally bones, deteriorated skin, corpses, right? These are people that you used to drink with, smoke with. They buried in the dirt. They never coming back over a block they don't own. How insane is that? No future, no children, no legacy that they can mentor and guide. We're probably burying the like true real revolutionary people, it's insane. That's why this story, that Noah Scurry story, really like hit home. Like, yo, this young man didn't even realize that he had enough potential. He ain't believe in himself enough because of his environment. And there's a million Noah Scurries out there who have all this potential and can't even see it because of the environment that they're in. And there's nobody in there enough that loves them or care about them enough or even believe any different that can guide them out of it. That's why, I fight to stay in my nephews and all that lives, because I can't see it happening. See, the one thing, especially to like our young black men, when you're a man, you don't have to prove that you're a man. You just the man that you are. Everybody want to be dangerous. You only need to be dangerous when danger is present. That's it. But we've made it a lifestyle of walking around promoting fear into each other of our own people, ice grilling and all this and all that. And then we so gifted and talented, we can talk slick about it and make millions off of it. So it has to be like the toll that all of this is taken on us is insane because of the lack of, number one, self-discipline, mental health, emotional, physical health. Like we run around, I struggle as much as anybody else. I'm not a small man, but the habits and the things that you develop over the years make it so hard to overcome certain things when you're triggered. You get tired, you get worn out. I could eat good for like a month and say, oh, I deserve a little something. Man, it's going to take me about 4 or 5 weeks or more to get back on track, all for comfort, because every day we're fighting and we're dealing in this struggle every day. That's what makes it so challenging, because the system is still there, but it's proven that you can maneuver through this system. And there's not enough. Everybody want to teach you a course, but they don't want to take your hand and guide you through this system to be more successful. But these are the people that you celebrate, and you keep putting money in their pockets by giving them attention. So yeah, this ain't gonna be one of my more popular episodes, I guess, because nobody really wants to be accountable for what's going on. You know what I mean? Especially in our mental health for men and women, our physical health, our emotional health. Like, it's so crazy. Obesity rates are nearly like 50% of Black adults. 50% of our people are obese. There's more hypertension and diabetes within us than any other group. And only 1 in 3 African Americans or Black folk actually get the mental health care that they need. Think about that. Because of just the stigma surrounding therapy and emotional vulnerability. Like, if you're a man, you can't be soft, right? I remember when I was younger, and this is like real rap. I'm being real transparent. When I was younger, I was known as a crybaby. I cried all the time for everything. The wind blow, I cry. But my household was crazy because Pops was going through things because he came back from Vietnam, and the mental health, he had challenges from being in the war. The man got shot 3 times over there, and all their coping mechanism was dope. Alcohol and dope was their coping mechanism. He said they used to ship it in by the trainload. And then he come home and supposed to be a family man with no opportunities, who the people, the society hated. And my mom was just doing her best to make sure that we was good. And she took the brunt of all of his insanity as much as she could for us to try to shield us. That only worked for so long. So, man, I like yelling, arguing. I don't do that because it triggers all that stuff. So when I would cry and I'd be like, I'm crying something, my older brother, Big Tone, shout out to Tone, Mayday, right? Between him and my older cousin and all that, punch me in the chest, shut up, stop crying, man. And then guess what? I turned out to be that one. Like, you see what I mean? Because I had to bottle all that stuff and then turn into a monster to survive as I develop into a young man, because I couldn't be viewed as no punk. I haven't any emotions, which just made me cold-hearted. And that affected relationships with women because now I'm cold-hearted. Now they're just tools. They're not something to nurture and protect and love. when I really desired that, but I couldn't be seen vulnerable or weak emotionally, especially doing the things that I thought I was justified that I had to do to survive out here. So this is, I pray that most of our youth right now get to the point that I am in right now in life, because a lot of them won't see the day. We just buried another one of ours. Like, that's insane. That's insane. So I'm not just out from the outside looking in. I'm talking from a perspective of real experience, right? On both sides of the coin. And a lot of us, and all it really takes is a little self-discipline to start, educate ourselves. You are who you are. God made you that way. I truly believe God made you who you are, like perfect as far as in his purpose for your life. And I ain't talking about no religion. I'm just talking about the creator. So you're here, you're not a mistake, but you could definitely forfeit your time. And that's the thing that, you know, if we don't care enough about each other to really be honest with each other, how are we going to grow as a community? We are the dopest people on the planet. We should be get together and enjoying life like it's no other, because we've survived so much. And all that starts, and that's why the family structure, bro, is so important. We have this systematic issues that we have, like all this mass incarceration and these economic policies that dismantle the Black family units. I mean, it's so crazy. It's like, what is it? Like nearly 70% of Black children are born into single parent households. That's from the U.S. Census Bureau in 2023. That directly impacts the future generations. There's a lack of role model, especially Black men. There's increased likelihood of continuing poverty and criminal behavior in children from broken homes. It's a fact. I was one of them. So what do we do? Like, how do we rebuild our supportive, like, family structure? You know, I think we've been in a time, like my youngest daughter, right? Shout out to Precious, my baby, right? My youngest daughter, she makes friends so simply, right? So easily. And she's so genuine with it, right? But because of how Black folk are, people are in general, right? She finds herself being more of a friend to these people than they are to her. But what it's going to take, because I definitely believe, like, you know, your first family you're born into, but your founding family you find. And some of that is going to consist of people who didn't sleep in the same room with you as a child. If you're fortunate enough to really find, like, real value people. I have people close to me in my life right now, men, brothers. We wasn't born in the same household, but we've been solid for over 10 years. Never did me dirty, right? Shout out to Unapologetically Masculine, my man Wayman Ware. Yeah, so there's real family out there, but once you start, like, if you are going to be a part of a family, you know, you got brothers, you building with each other. I got brothers that I don't talk to every day. They're real men. They're on their grind. They know I'm on my grind. They're doing what they're doing. Shout out to my man, LS from This Is Hip Hop. I ain't gonna shout out his government, but we sandbox. I don't get to, you know, speak with him all the time. He's been on the show. Solid brother. He do what he do. And that's why I give grace to people in general, because people in my lives, I want to be impact to them. I don't look for them to have to be an impact for me. I appreciate everything that anybody ever brings to the table with me, because I'm always want to learn and I always want to grow. But as Black men, if we don't begin a simple level of building strong Black relationships, and it don't matter, like, it's not a whole race thing, but I'm talking about just for us as a people, as a nation, this has to expand. I have good, solid people that are not Black in my lives that I call brother. They are amazing men, because it's not what you say, it's what you do. But we have to help each other build our families and structures. That's why with my youngest daughter, she has people that she can consider family that is not her family naturally by birth, but because of how genuine she is. And as those other people weed themselves out with their jealousy and their own personal intent and all that nonsense they got going on, then the real ones remain. You know, like, a lot of people don't know how they purify metals. You purify metals by putting them in the fire. When you put them in the fire, it burns out all the impurities. That's how you get solid gold. Like gold really is gold, like that good gold. You have to burn out the impurities. And that's what happens with relationships. That's why a lot of people don't last in relationships like marriage, is because when the fire comes to burn out the impurities, it gets too hot. You're actually an impurity. You ain't solid. You're bacteria. You get burnt up. You get burnt out. You're done. You're burnout in these relationships. It's you. If you find yourself always on the burnout end, you might need to take a look at you. We've been put in a position of self-preservation because of the systematic racism and everything. So basically all that means is we are all desperate to survive at any means necessary. And we'll shit on each other to do it. But you have to be desperate enough to survive, to sacrifice your wants for each other so that now we're building on something. That's why it's so hard. That's why there's such a strong lack in like supporting of Black-owned businesses. Like, think about that. But we'll support a rapper that's talking about pissing and dancing on his op's grave, how many drugs and weight that he's moving. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, we have a real experience. I'm not knocking somebody, like, if you used to move packs to get stacks, you know what I mean? Like, we get that. We've been there. That's a part of your story, your journey. Of course you're going to talk about that. The end result of that is always going to be where you're currently at right now. And that's the elevation of it. So you can't be 50 years old and you still trying to be a gangster. 30 and 40 years old, you trying to be a gangster standing on blocks. At this point in the stage in your life, you have to have more to offer to each other as a people. Those people, when you stand there, you trying to figure it out. I knew very rare people who wanted to be on the block. We might have been on the block. Nobody, but see, we didn't have open conversations about that because nobody really got that deep. Because you're in survival mode and you looking over your shoulder, you making sure da-da-da-da-da-da, right? But nobody wanted to be there. Now, there was a few that really acted like this is all, like they would die for it, and they did. But that's not the norm. But when you're perpetuating it consistently through the music, that's what it appears like. That's why we're suffering with the mass incarceration, right? Think about all the potential we got locked up behind bars. Think about this. Black people, we make up 33% of the incarcerated population, and we're only 13% of the U.S. population. Let that sink in. We make up 33% of the mass incarceration population, but we only 13% of the U.S. population. Make that make sense. And if I'm speaking to, if the numbers is confuse you, let me make a little bit of simple. We're the fewest people in the U.S., just about, but we make up almost a majority of the people incarcerated in the U.S., a third of it. Come on, man. And our music, our culture is the reason for that. Though that's an insane. Now that's not just me making it up. You can look this up. That's from the Bureau of Justice Statistics of 2023. I'm not making this stuff up. So it's not me saying it. Don't get mad at me. So what's the common denominator in all this? And somebody gonna say, oh, it's racism. It's a systematic racism. That plays a part. But it's the pimping of our culture, this deaf culture that we're existing in. Look, our women don't even want to be women anymore. As far as in a woman that's going to help build a home. Everybody want to be a bad bitch. So the whores are winning. I mean, is that too blunt? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. You got to have a fatty and a zaddy. What's going on, man? And the crazy thing is now the men don't want to be men. They can buy the same body parts. They can buy the same body parts and they look the same. So how much value is it in that if you can purchase it and put it on? I'll make it real simple for you. Anything that you can purchase and put it on doesn't make you better than what you already are. If you can buy it in a store, that goes for your jewelry, your clothes, your whatever, your cologne. If you can buy it and put it on your body, you are the same person regardless of it. The only thing that changes is how other people perceive you. That's why most billionaires, you don't even know they're billionaires because they're walking around in their JCPenney's outfit and you thinking, look, but black folk, we mad broke. We got all the designer. Make it make sense. We got all the designer. For a status, we set the bar, bro. If you haven't gotten it yet, that's what we set the bar. So if we set the bar, we can set the bar to things of value instead of things that just go away. And this is not religion, but I know the word says, why stock your treasure in things that can rust and the moths can eat away? That's not treasure. That's not where the value is. Look what's going on in Cali right now. All these people's lives, all these wealthy people's lives destroyed, all their stuff burnt up, gone. Like that. One day it's here, next day it's not. Think about that. Billions of dollars gone, bro. Look at Diddy. He got $1 billion and he's sitting in the cell. He can't even go make a grilled cheese sandwich normally if you wanted to at 2:00 in the morning. Can't even go and get a fresh squig of cool apple juice. It's good. Boom. Waking up parched in the middle of the night. Like, we have... This is like, we really, if we don't begin to stop the things that's happening and stop these cycles, bro, I'm telling you, you're going to disappear. The lack of financial literacy, education, and community support that we have in our community is crazy. Like, seriously, like this is, we don't have, now you have people who, and I shouldn't say that because like you got people like Wall Street Trapper and who's the other dudes too. But the problem is they're also, I mean, even though they create content that you can follow, like let's not get it twisted. You do have to invest in yourself. Right. But the thing is there's an oversaturation of my ebook, do this, do that, do this, do that, where the information is not really getting to the people. I guess the reason I'm even saying all of this, right? Because even with these people who are now teaching financial literacy within our community, which is really dope that they are doing this, we have to make sure that we're reaching the people who it can really impact. And that's why our challenges are. That's why it's not all up to them. It's up to ourselves, number one, individually. You know what I mean? Like, it's really up to us individually to want more and want better. But we have to develop within our culture a push for self-discipline and accountability so that we can start improving each other and stop competing against each other. Because it's the competition. We got sports for that. We have outlets to get our aggression out and to do the things like we like to do and compete and all that within sports. I think that's why I think sports is so great for young men and women to participate in, because there's a floor for that. But you don't walk around in life every day. You shouldn't be at war with each other. We should be on some build up with each other, some supporting each other. And this is what's going to carry us as the people to the next level. People willing to sacrifice, for the better good of us all. And that starts within the home. You got families that can't even work together. I'm not saying go out and save the world. I'm just saying start with what you have, because you are the world. So if you start within your own household to have the mindset, a successful mindset, start there and let that permeate throughout your household. And you start making the sacrifices for your household. If all this is happening in individual households, then the things that were driving us to do the stupid shit, right? Those things are going to lower. They're going to decrease because we're more focused on what we need to do now for the embetterment of our household. And we're not resorting to the negative things to get us ahead. When there's so many things right now where all this technology and Web3 and everything else is going on that we can actually invest our time in, our understanding in, to start to build wealth and to change the dynamic of our families forever. That's what I would encourage, everybody to do. That's what it's going to take. It has to be a change in mindset to dismantle the destructive behaviors. Now, there are programs, there's things that's out there that, depending on what it is that you're in need of, right? There's things out there that you can start looking into and investing into to make real change within your household. It's going to start within your house. And as you start supporting each other in your home, within your own home, like just think of the power we would have if baby daddies and baby mamas will actually be a couple and a family and stop treating each other like they ops. So that's where this thing is coming to. That's where you're going to really start to see the real changes in what's happening with our people, with our folks. Because, I see this trend going on right now. Everybody want to cancel, Nelly and Snoop, right? Because they performed or whatever at Donald Trump's whatever, right? I think it's hilarious. I really do. I think it's hilarious that people saying that. Like, first of all, I didn't know there was a market for Snoop and Nelly music or whatever they got going on. Now, I know Snoop got his hand because he went to the school of Master P. So he got a lot of projects and things happening in Marlon doing whatever. But what does it really mean to cancel whatever? Like, when are we, why are we in a culture where we can't change our mind because we got more educated? The more you know, then you have to reprocess your thoughts of how you looked at certain things before. And when you do that, you literally have to change your mind because with more knowledge, you have more understanding. A lot of us is running off emotional hype off of social media. We have no reason why we hate the things that we hate. We just hate it because the culture say we hate it. Are you the culture or are you a person? The person creates the culture. The culture shouldn't create the person. Think about that. The person creates the culture. The culture shouldn't create the person. What you doing? If the culture created you, you are nobody. That's why you can't even have a conversation with people because they can't talk past just the ebonics. There's hoods that you cannot survive in right now because as soon as you open up your mouth, they know you're not from there. They know you're not from there because you are not part of that culture. They can tell by how you speak. So we've taken what our oppressors have done for us, and we've done this with neighborhoods. So it don't even matter what your skin tone is. You're not from around here. What sense does that make? They used to do that to you over your skin color. They could just see you. Like, let's think about what's really going on. So this death culture that we in, because everything that we celebrate only promotes our demise. It doesn't promote any stability in building up a people. You don't believe me? Just go watch one of these reality shows, man. These hip hop, whatever. This is Love and Hip Hop or whatever. Like, listen to me. Hip hop is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna say this. Hip hop is a beautiful art form. You have to have skill, intelligence, rhythm, soul, and you can change hearts. You can tug emotions. Hip hop is a powerful thing. And when it's weaponized against your own community, it's probably one of the most destructive forces on earth. It's a God-given talent that the enemy of your soul is using to destroy God's people. And you don't have to agree with me. I really don't care. I know what I've seen. I've known what I experienced. I know what I researched. I know what I looked into. And because it's so powerful, we got these right, dying in the streets in front of their mothers. And then you hear about the story for a little bit, and then it goes away. It's over. On to the next. And another one will rise up and take that one's place. And the same thing's going to happen again and again and again. But what you don't get to see is the devastation of the families that are involved. And you don't get to see the future that they would have had if they was living in their purpose. That's what makes this so heartbreaking. So it's time for us to take our hip hop back. We have to take it back. We have to be the ones to set the trend for the culture. And that starts in each individual person, which affects each individual household and home, that then in turn affects each other's community. And that community is going to affect the culture. And that culture has the power to change the world as it already has done, proven over and over and over again. So the ball's in our court. Are we balling or not? And everything that I mentioned, if you think I'm just up here blowing smoke, all these stats is from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, Pew Research Center, National Institute on Drug Abuse, Federal Reserve, Mental Health America. Like everything that I cited, you can find it there. They're watching, they're paying more attention to us than we are. But nah, you got to do J's though, because you took him off for young boy over there. You took his chain. Like, what are we doing, man? It's time to elevate and redefine what our purposes are and hold ourselves accountable with self-discipline and action towards our goals. That's the only way that this culture changes. It's God's fault. Your boy Nyjah, a.k.a. the Comeback King, baby. That's why I'm here. Don't be mad at me. Blame God. We out of here.